I'm with Ben Cooley, the CEO and co-founder of Hope for Justice. Hi Ben.
Hey, how you doing?
Very good, thank you. I would love to find out more about Hope for Justice and what the charity does.
Yeah. So what we've done is we started about 5 years ago in the UK. I went to an event that I heard about human trafficking for the first time and just was absolutely devastated. But didn't quite know what to do, you know, like many people that hear about this issue, you know, it breaks your heart, but what do you do next, you know? So I decided, you know, I'd been reading a lot of books and, you know, the Bill Hybels quote that says, the hope of the world lies in the local church, but predominantly in the hands of the leaders. You know, I thought we need to get the church involved in this. What my response was, you know, we need to get the church involved. So I decided to book an arena to tell the church to gather the church. It was the first thing that we did, you know, young passionate guy, and you know, it was amazing actually just to profile other organisations that were doing something in the field. And you know, we got just shy of 6,000 people to our first event. Wow. But then from there onwards, you know, we Hope for Justice decided that, you know, to just create awareness is great, but it shouldn't stop at awareness. You know, awareness is powerful. You know, the reason why William Wilberforce did all that he did was because someone told him. The power of telling someone is amazing, but it can't just stop there. It needs to lead to action. And we did, you know, studies here in the UK to what was actually going on, what the problem was and what the solution or what solutions were out there. And we realised that there wasn't something that called a multidisciplinary unit here in the UK. And so we decided that we would do that. And that multidisciplinary unit brings freedom to victims of human trafficking in the UK. So I employ seasoned investigators that have come from senior police backgrounds, lawyers, people from a social working background to predominantly focus on bringing freedom. So last year we were able to assist 78 people in that freedom, and the youngest was 4 months old and the oldest was 59 years old. And we predominantly focus as an organisation on two aspects of trafficking, which is sex trafficking and forced labour. And what we're seeing is a rise in forced labour.
Are you able to tell us about the first girl that Hope for Justice rescued?
Yeah. Well, we've set up intelligence gathering mechanisms, and we got this intelligence report about this girl, and it turned out this girl was trafficked from the age of 14 years old by her mother, and she's a white English girl, and she was trafficked to Eastern Europe and was brutally exploited. I mean, on a commercial level. I mean, she told me one day that you know, she was allowed 3 minutes with every client, which you know, if you think about it, in some senses it's unbelievable that there is one, men that would do that, yeah, and two, that, you know, in some measure that there is an industry out there that actually endorses and is for the raping women for profit. And so she was trafficked back to the UK, was in that environment, and then actually started working around the north of England. And we got this intelligence report. She was 19 at the time, and I remember sitting opposite this girl, and we were a lot smaller team then, and sitting opposite her in a hotel lobby. And this girl, Sarah, she basically, she sat in silence. I mean, she sat in total silence because she was in absolute fear. I don't know if you've looked into people's eyes. You know, I always look in people's eyes. I want to know what they're thinking. I want to know, you know, eyes tell a lot about a person. Well, this girl, Sarah, she had probably, for me, one of the most disturbing looks of emptiness. No hope was there. You know, this girl was truly broken. And you know, I was there to talk about the aftercare options, was there to talk about, you know, where we were going to place her. But this girl sat in silence. I mean, utter silence. And then it got to the point where I'd done all that I could do, I'd said all that I could say, but we just sat there, and then she broke the silence with this. I'll never cry about it, you know. I'll never cry about it. You don't know what it feels like to have a big fat man on top of you. You don't know what it feels like to be sold to a millionaire who beats you, he rapes you and films it all and puts it on the internet. You don't know what it feels like. You don't know what it feels like that your mom's involved in this process. I said, yeah, Sarah, I don't know what it feels like. But I got to a point where I had to, I said to God, you know, at this point in time, I'm lost. Because I've told her where we need to, I've told her where we, you know, we're going to put her, I've told her where, you know, the mechanisms that we're going to put her through, the people that we're going to introduce her to, but I'm lost now. And you know, I really felt that, you know, that verse, Jeremiah 29, you know, I have a plan to prosper you, not to harm you. And I just started speaking words of life over it. It's amazing, actually, when you choose to speak words of life, what happens. And so I said, you know, Sarah, we believe that there is a future for you. We believe that what was done to you was wrong, and we want to put you in a place where you regain your hope, your dignity. We want to put you in a place where you're valued. And suddenly this girl, you know, starts weeping and weeping and weeping, sobbing like 1,000 abuses had left her. And then she looks up at me in my eyes and she says, you can call me Emma. No one's called me Emma since it's all began.
Thank you, Ben, for sharing that amazing story. And I guess what I would really like to know, and really like to encourage everyone that's watching this, is what can we do to see more freedoms, I guess, happen? Yeah,
well, I think, you know, in its simplest form, you know, what we need to do is to change what we do. What I mean by that is this, is that, you know, Edmund Burke says all that's required for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. Actually, that phrase, you know, good men do nothing, actually, in order for us to change this, good men need to do something. You know, they need to do their something. You know, I trained as an opera singer. I know that's shocking, right? I did 6 years at the Royal Northern College of Music. And I remember this one moment where, you know, I was well into doing my degree, and I was a bass baritone. Now, bass baritones often are the people that do, you know, like the granddad roles and die in the first act. I mean, it's pretty ghastly. But like, so you know, here I am at the back of the stage one day, and I watched the tenor go to the front, and he's singing his aria. He's just about to woo the lady, and he's just about to kill me in a fight. And I just thought, that totally sucks, because I'm better than this guy, but just because of his voice type, he gets to do something I can't do. And so I sat there, stood at the back of the stage, you know, chanting to myself, I should be a tenor, I should be a tenor. And then the next thought was, well, why don't I be a tenor? So I went back to my room and I got my Casio keyboard out. I got Nessun Dorma out, because everyone knows if you can sing Nessun Dorma, you can totally be a tenor. And so I decided to get it out, and it was going pretty well up until the last phrase, you know, the bit that goes Vince, oh Vince, and you know, my voice was breaking, so I started to, you know, to pray. I said, you know, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Vince, don't throw away your confidence, for it will be richly rewarded. Vince, you know, and then a knock on my door happened. It was my flatmate and fellow opera singer Mike. He said, Benny, all right. I didn't answer. You know, I thought he was being rude. Knock, knock. Benny, all right. I didn't answer. He said, Ben, I hate to tell you this, but you're not a tenor. You're a bass baritone. I know it's a silly example, but you know, a lot of people in this world, when you hear about injustices like human trafficking, their response is to be something like a tenor when they're a bass baritone. Their response could be, oh, I want to be an investigator. I'll go out and get it. Well, if you're not an investigator, you know, don't try and be an investigator if you're not an investigator. You know, some of you might need to go and retrain, but actually it's finding out what you do, who you are. I mean, when you come to this isn't just about giving £5 a month. I mean, we'll take, you know, I've got a nice little price guarantee, whatever you give me, I'll spend it, you know. But the fact is, this isn't just about us just giving our 5, our 10s, our £20 a month. Actually, it needs a culture shift. And what you've got to find out is, where do you fit in that? So for example, you using your voice, the media, you know, there's businessmen that can use their businesses to position for change. It's about, you know, being those in politics, positioning so legislation protects the vulnerable, those in social services, making sure that, you know, that children are protected and they aren't allowed to be exploited. It's about using your skill base. You know, one of the things that I love about talking to young people, for example, one of the things that I am passionate about is inspiring our young people to go, to think bigger and think better. You know, for too long we've sold them short. We've told them that they will only achieve a little. But actually, what I want to see, which, you know, we've done several events now, you know, promoting, you know, the cause. You know, I just the other day my PA bumped into this girl, and she was telling how that she went to this event by Hope for Justice. She went, well, I work for Hope for Justice. She went, no way, that's totally awesome. She's not American, but I just thought I might do it. I hope you enjoyed that. But you know, she said, you know, I went to an event and heard about this cause, and I decided that I would train to be a social worker. And just last week was my first week, and I've started helping victims of human trafficking. So it's amazing, isn't it? Just the power of awareness, but then the power of using your skill base and deliberately positioning for change.
If people do want to actually connect with you guys, what's the website and Twitter, and how can we get connected and possibly sponsor or, you know, fully be up to date with what Hope for Justice are doing everywhere?
Yeah, so we have a website, like most people, but it's hopeforjustice.org.uk. We have a Twitter, which is @HopeForJustice, and mine's @Ben Cooley. Why don't you tweet me and I'll say hi.
Great. Well, Ben, thank you so much for sharing about Hope for Justice. I know that I've truly been inspired about what you've said today, and I really hope everyone else has. And if you want to check out what Leo's doing, you can just go to loveandotherlanguages.com, and at Twitter it's Leo Magazine. Thanks, Ben.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you.